One love, Delta 9 family. What's going on? What is going on? It's Sundays. Welcome into the live. I see Parsons been here since early on. Drop a 9. Drop a 9 in the comment section if you can hear me clearly. Welcome into the live. Welcome into the live. Team Delta. We are live. We are live right now on Delta 9 Media's Good News Sundays. Good News Sunday. Big up yourself and welcome. Welcome into the live. Right? Welcome into the live. And thanks for being a part of this presentation. Right? Thanks for being a part of the live right now. Everybody coming into the room right now, coming onto the platform. Big up yourself. We here and we got a packed presentation for you. We rocking out and we taking it easy on this Sunday. We're making sure that we stay updated with everything as we move into the work week. As we begin the work week, we're making sure that we stay updated. A lot of new persons going into Parliament, a lot of movement, a lot of persons no longer a part of certain ministries. We're definitely going to be getting into that. We're going to be getting into some updates as well with what's going on with LOLA, and we'll be hearing from the top cops themselves about that. All right, we're going to be getting some of those details and much more right here on Delta 9 Media. Right? It's Good News Sundays. Let me see who is in the comment section right now. Shout out a couple of persons. Big up yourself. Desiree, thanks for being a part of the live. P.P.P. Big up yourself. Thanks for being a part of the live. All right. Shalom, Carlisle. Peace to you and yours, bro. Thanks for being a part of this live. All right. It's Good News Sundays. Rook Renat. Big up yourself. Thanks for coming in, bro. Thanks for being a part of this presentation. Early on, early vibes. Right. The flight is about to hit the sky. And we're about to start getting into certain details, certain trending topics, trending things that are important right now in Guyana and in the diaspora. What's going on with y'all though? What's good on your side? What's the Sunday like on your side of the globe? Sunny over here, warm over here, feel like a regular summer day, even though we're going into the fall period of the year. All right? Right now in the beautiful Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Definitely make sure that you remember to hit that thumbs up button as you step into the live. Don't forget, that's the usual things that we do over here. You thumbs up the live, you join the flight, we take off and we start getting into everything that's trending, highlighting certain things, insightful calls, insightful commentary. You know the usual thing, right over here on Delta 9 Media. I want to thank everybody jumping in right now. Lucky, Hazel, thanks for tuning in and being a part of the live. Thanks for tuning in. We're about to jump off on this one right now. The flight is about to hit the sky as we start to highlight the very first story that we will be starting off this presentation with. All right. This is what's going on right now. And that's definitely what we'll be taking off to as we hit the sky right now on Good News Sundays. The thing that we'll be highlighting first, the thing that we'll be talking about first as we jump into the topics is everything that's going on in Parliament right now. There's a number of different conversations, a number of different persons made it in. Some persons didn't make it in that was expected to be a part of the 13th Parliament. I'm telling you, a very interesting couple of months we have ahead of us. As the flight hit the sky, I want to thank the 100 persons that with us right now as we broadcast on Good News Sundays. If you haven't taken a couple of seconds already to thumbs up the live, buddy. And if you're going to join us in the future on the rewind, all right, same thing, thumbs up the live and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, because we are about to jump into some trending topics right here on Delta 9 Media. Now, as you can see on the screen, that is a picture of the persons that will comprise of the 13th Parliament from the leading party side, right? From the leading party, those are the persons right there that will be in the 13th Parliament. A number of moves, a number of persons that are staying in the same ministries, and a number of persons that didn't make it into Parliament. Definitely a number of conversations going on about that. But let's go to a part of what was taking place at the ceremony, just so persons could understand what's taking place on the ground in Guyana, in the House of Parliament, right now.
Do hereby solemnly declare that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the people of Guyana, that I will faithfully execute the office of Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and that in the execution of the functions of that office, I will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. So help me, Bhagwan.
Well, as we can see, the Attorney General has been reinstated in that very position of power. What does this mean for certain cases moving forward, Delta 9 family? What do you think this means for a number of cases that are still getting no real push towards the direction of justice, as we could already see early in the year what's going on? Now you have another 5 years of the same person in power, things that we didn't want to see manifest, but the fact that it is here now, we got to deal with the cards that was dealt. All right, these are the cards that was dealt. So now, what does this mean for cases like what's going on with the case with Adriana Young? What does this mean for the case that's going on with Keon Fajani? What does this mean for Randall? Right? What does this mean for Ronaldo? What does this mean for Crummy Wing? Another 5 years, seemingly with persons in positions of power that can prevent certain real moves. But guess what? The power is in the hands of the people, and the people can make these great decisions to see these things be done in the right manner. Let me see what's going on in the comment section right now. Hazel is greeting everyone. Big up yourself. Linzel is saying, hot and sunny day in GT. Ah, boy, I like hearing them things. The sun is a different kind of sun, right? All year long, you could depend on that sun to be nice and hot. Nice tropical zone. One of the most beautiful places to be. Guyana. Yeah. Big up yourself, Linzel. Wayne is saying blessings. Big up yourself, Wayne. Thanks for tuning in and being a part of the live. Lino. Yeah, man. Great Sunday to you too. P.P.P again. I'm telling you. So we see the Attorney General is back in the position of power. And a number of other persons were reinstated, but a number of persons didn't make it in as well. But we're going to get into that as we move forward in the flight. Let me see what's going on right here.
Without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and that in the execution of the functions of that office, I will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and I do so affirm.
Honorable Gail Teixeira, right, being reinstated into certain positions of power, real hot in SVG. I'm telling you, it's not even, it's nice and warm over here. It's not hot, it's not summer hot, but it's summer warm. And it's getting into the temperate. Things are starting to be to get all the yellows and red and you know those beautiful colors of the fall. Definitely going into the fall. And Guyana is going into a whole other 5 years, a whole nother 5 years of governance by the P.P.P. But what's in store? We're seeing a lot of movement, a lot of people going into different ministries, a lot of persons moving around. We're seeing the Honorable Gail right here on the screen.
Ashley Kumar Singh. I, Ashley Kumar Singh, do hereby solemnly declare that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the people of Guyana, that I will faithfully execute the office of Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and that in the execution of the functions of that office, I will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. And I do so swear, so help me God.
A lot of cheers and a lot of celebration. But a lot of people weren't as celebratory because guess what? Some persons didn't make it back in, buddy. Some persons did not make it back in. Who's these persons? Let me see what's going on. Right? Now, Joe Hamilton, Anand Prasad, nor Honorable Robeson Ben did not make it back into their ministries or new ministries. These persons more than likely will not have no real formal role in the 13th Parliament that we have being established right now. As we can see, a lot of moves going on. If you remember, there's the Labour man, and that's shoot and scoot. So the shoot and scoot then out of Parliament, and after the travesty that went down with that strike and all of them things back and forth, they now would have gotten rid of that sore thumb that could now stick out and say, oh, it's this same person that, you know, was in the bickerings and the back and forth with the teachers and everybody else during that time with the strike recently. They would have gotten rid of him now and they got a new person in Labour. A lot of movements going on, and we got to make sure that we're paying attention to them because it's important that we understand the persons that are playing these positions of power. All right? So we got 3 people that didn't make it back in. 3 people that didn't make it back into certain positions from the P.P.P. And a lot of other persons move around as well. And we're definitely going to make sure that we update you with that as we move forward in the flight. But let's hear a little bit about what's going on with WIN, because we know that WIN will be the persons that will be in the opposition leader position, that will be the leading party in the opposition in this 13th Parliament. All right? So definitely let's be updated with some of these details.
Yes, guys. Mr. Mohammed, yes, God, dress him properly in Parliament. Bring out his cabinet. Look at it. Ooh. Yes, Mr. Mohammed, bring out his cabinet. Yes, for Parliament. He bring out these people for Parliament. Look at it again. Ooh. But I'm looking to see Mr. Bradley Sampson on it. I'm not seeing him. Hold on, I got to change this. Let me put that in shape, my glasses. Yes, I can see clear now. I can see clearly now. Where is Bradley Sampson? Bloop. There's no Bradley Sampson. Come on! Y'all gonna send everybody back to the dogs? Huh? I I done saying I'm not gonna call him no dog anymore, doggy. I'm gonna say Bradley Sampson. No, he's not there. Who represents the scripts and all of that? Fata and all of that. Nobody. No. What's going on? The man work hard, man. Come on.
You need to leave therapy immediately. There is nothing more destructive to the male psyche than sitting down and complaining and crying about your problems to somebody who has their own problems, which they do not even disclose.
Cooperation without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and that in the execution of the functions of that office, I will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. So help me God.
Priya Devi Manikchand.
I, Priya Devi Manikchand, do hereby solemnly declare that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the people of Guyana, that I will faithfully execute the office of Minister of Local Government and Regional Development without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and that in the execution of the functions of that office, I will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and I do so swear.
So everybody that was thinking that Priya was getting demoted, that Priya was getting kicked out of Parliament, no sir, no ma'am, Priya would have gotten a promotion. Because remember, this is a bigger ministry. This is a bigger ministry. All right, let's see what's going on here. We can hear directly from the Honorable Priya Manikchand as she gives us some insights about her new appointment.
The new Minister of Local Government. We know the country knows your love for children. So are you excited about this new role?
Yeah, I'm very excited. It's a huge mandate. At education, we got to deal with education alone. But in local government and regional development, it's going to be dealing with education and health, agriculture, infrastructure, housing, everything else. Making sure the regions feel the government's intention to serve them, each and every household, each and every person. And I have the unique opportunity of having served in education and seeing how when the regions don't hear what it is government's intention is, how that doesn't work for us in the regions and for the people of the region. And frankly, the regions have been the bane of my existence in education. We got a chance now, big mandate, but a chance to try to fix that. So when we say it's central ministry, we want every teacher's quarters to look like this. We get the chance to make sure every REO, every regional chairman, every local government, whether it be municipality or NDC or RDC, that they're hearing the government's intention and actually implementing it. And so I'm looking forward to that.
Minister Manichan, how would you describe?
Wayne Green is saying bigger ministry, bigger corruption, bigger problems. Big up yourself, Wayne. Thanks for tuning in and being a part of the live. Definitely, it's an interesting 5 years ahead. Very interesting. Persons got to pay careful attention to the ministries, the changes, and the players in these positions of power. Let's hope that things can move in a direction that, will be pleasant and pleasurable to the persons that are being serviced by these new ministers in these new ministries and these new positions of power. Let's hope that they can now deal with the persons in Guyana in the way that they should. Let's hope that the situation is not a repeat of some of the things that we would have seen went down in the years that was past. All right, we definitely looking forward, and we hoping forward as well for all the persons in positions of power, opposition, and the persons on the other side of the political spectrum as well. We want to see Guyana moving forward in a real way. We want to understand the real progress as we're talking about fastest growing economy, as we're talking about largest budgets and these different types of things that is growing in the country at a great speed. We want to see persons, the citizens, the labor force, because we know we got a new person in labor. We got new labor ministers, right? We want things to move in a direction that would simulate that we got new energy, new fresh persons in there that's looking with it with an insight to deal with persons in the country in a real way. Not no one-sided way like we would have been used to before.
Your approach that can be expected. Some would say it's meticulous, but how would you describe it? What can we expect?
You've seen me for a few years, many years, and it's usually I like to get down on the ground, know what's going on, but also hold hands as we do this firmly. So it's not all a laugh and a giggle, but I also don't do the rating of people. People have to work because at the
See, hear what Priya said. It's not about berating people. People gotta work. But Wayne is pointing out that, listen, it's really hard. Wayne is saying it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. And a lot of people are moving around. A lot of movements in different ministries. We're going to hear from the Honorable Terence Campbell. Yeah, because he will be leading Team Green into Parliament for the 13th Parliament. But before we hear that, there's another person that is moving around. There's another movement going on. We got to make sure we pay attention to these movers. Let's see who's the other person that's moving.
I, Onej Warren, do hereby solemnly declare that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the people of Guyana, and that I will faithfully execute the office of Minister of Home Affairs without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and that in the execution of the functions of that office, I will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and I do so swear. So help me God.
I telling you, Minister of Home Affairs, shoot and scoot, shoot and scoot. Get move aside for some new fruit, and is on edge in that position of power right now. What y'all think about that change right there? Onage Waldron, the Honorable Onage Waldron, now sitting in the position of the Minister of Home Affairs, right? Remember, she used to be a part of, or the leader in the tourism industry, right? She was a part of the tourism ministry, right? Or she was Minister of Tourism in the last parliament. But now she will be the Minister of Home Affairs, Honorable Onage Walrun. P.P.P. lies, 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 and more lies. Big up yourself, Wayne. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, of course, you got the right. It's hard to teach a new a new dog, new tricks. Rugranat, big up yourself, King. Thanks for tuning in. Right? Another person, new ministers in these ministries, right? A lot of movement. What y'all think about this movement right here? If you haven't taken a couple of seconds already, thumbs up the live, buddy. Let people get to see what's going on and understand what's the new dealings in this 13th parliament, plus a lot of other things that we got to make sure that we update you with right here on Good News Sundays with Delta 9 Media, right? Make sure you thumbs up the live, and I noticed that a lot of persons that watch the live when I'm watching the back channel, y'all ain't subscribed yet. Almost 50-something%. So you might know that you're subscribed. Check and see if you're subscribed. And if you're subscribed, hit that subscription button so that you will be updated every time this flight taking off, buddy. Big up yourself. And big up yourself to Onage Walrun, Honorable Onage Walrun, now stepping in to the position of Home Affairs Minister. I wonder how things are going to change in the force. I wonder how the procedures are going to be tightened up, if they will be tightened up. I am looking and we're paying careful attention to all the details, and we'll be keeping you updated with the way that these things develop right here on Delta 9 Media. So make sure that you are a part of Team Delta. Subscribe, buddy. All right. Let me hear right now what the Honorable Mr. Terence Campbell has to say. Greetings, Audrey. Welcome into the live, and thanks for being a part of Good News Sunday. She's saying good afternoon, all God's people. Good afternoon to you, Audrey. Thanks for tuning in. Let's hear from the Honorable Mr. Campbell as he details some of what's going on the ground right now as it relates to the 13th Parliament.
We will find work. We find ways to work with sanctions that they can.
No, I think she said around.
Yes. It is. But she was opening the door.
She was, but
no, I get it. What she was recognizing. This is the important point.
Brenda is saying we'll see. I definitely telling you, hey, Brenda, it's a serious situation and it's very interesting. We got to pay attention because what? With them movements, what we just see right there. If Shoot and Scoot wasn't able to keep them in check, I am very interested to see how the Honorable Onage Walrun will keep that police force in check, buddy. There's so many things going on right now in Guyana that we got to pay attention to, because we can't afford for things going more haywire than they done haywire in the force. We can't afford it. There's too much. That would be too much. Greetings, Brenda, and thanks for tuning in and being a part of this presentation as we listen to what is being detailed by the Honorable Mr. Campbell.
What she was recognizing is that there's a reality. And the reality is that WIN is in the National Assembly with 16 seats. The reality is that WIN will hold the positions of leader of the opposition and other senior positions, chairman of the PAC, chief whip, etc. And so we have to find a way.
And deputy speaker.
And well,
I mean, if the age-old traditions and practices are followed,
I call the convention.
Yes.
The convention. If the convention holds, they will hold the position of deputy speaker. And I can say, I can speak. I can take the liberty to say that the A.P.N.U intends to stick to that convention of the largest opposition party holding the position of deputy speaker. But if we remember the 12th Parliament, the P.P.P engineered things in a different way. And that is entirely possible with 36 seats, that they could then engineer things in a different way.
Yes,
but
they have in the past taken both positions.
But they,
I'm telling you, with the advantage that they have by acquiring so many seats, there's a number of changes that they can make now because they're empowered to do so. All right? And that is the thing that we got to look forward to. That's what we got coming forward these next 5 years. I'm telling you, Parliament is going to be very, very interesting because there's going to be a new element. There's going to be a new element, a new arranging of the opposition side. Like we were pointing out before elections, that there will be, if allowed, which we could see would have played out by now, a controlled opposition, allegedly. And there's going to be a situation where persons that used to be a part of the same political party just recently, because another person, they hear this and say, well, the PNC and the P.P.P used to be the same at one time. Yes, but that's ancient conversation you're talking about, right? We're talking about less than 5 years ago. Persons, or you got to say almost everybody, that might be making up certain positions of real power in a particular party used to be a part of the other one that's in the position of power. And we heard this conversation coming from Mr. Fred Carbin and persons from around the diaspora talking about the controlled opposition that is going on, allegedly going on in Barbados right now, right? So we see certain things playing out right in front of our faces, and we're hearing certain details coming from the Honorable Mr. Campbell. Let's listen to some more we have to say.
The position of the A.P.N.U delegation in this 13th Parliament is to honor the convention that the largest opposition party holds a deputy speaker. So we have to face the reality that will be there in Parliament, a reality that WIN will hold the leadership of the opposition, possibly the deputy speaker, the chief chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, which had been advised by standing order, is vested
in the opposition,
the largest opposition party, and chief whip. So we have to.
Greetings, Hysen. Welcome into the live. Hysen is saying, a blessed Sunday, Mr. Delta, to you and the listeners. Blessings to you, Hysen. Thanks for tuning in and being a part of this live presentation. Big up yourself. Almost 300 people in the live right now. Thanks for being a part of the live. Remember, these presentations are nothing without the persons that tune in, nothing without the persons that call in and send in the insightful commentary in the comment section. Big up yourself.
Work with them. And it would be, even if those things were perhaps not in place, mere fact that they have 16 seats, it would be pragmatic to work with them in areas in the national interest. We're not here to stifle national growth, national development. But I'll repeat what I said at the start of the program. The A.P.N.U its focus We believe we're the best party. We believe we have the best plans. We believe we have the best team. And we are here to regain power in 2030.
Let's talk a little bit about across the aisle. When I got involved in this political arena, there was a different approach to politics. You had more engagement between government and opposition. We know that negotiated positions with the People's Progressive Party over the years have all been broken. Agreements brokered with the P.P.P. have all failed. Dishonored by the People's Progressive Party. For example, there was in the 9th Parliament an arranged position, an agreed upon position that there'll be something called the Depressed Communities Committee, which would be bipartisan. The 2-point persons there, I believe, were Gail Teixeira for the People's Progressive Party and James McAllister for the PNCR, One Guyana as it then was. The approach, the negotiated approach, was that the two sides will identify depressed communities within their constituencies, and they will collectively work on alleviating poverty and harsh situations for the mostly vulnerable in those communities. It was a fantastic plan. James did his level best to take the PNCR One Guyana's position forward. If I recall, there was agreement at the level of McAllister and Teixeira, which was overruled by the ultimate powers within the People's Progressive Party, and so it went nowhere.
Agent. I, one Anthony Edgel, do hereby solemnly declare that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the people of Guyana, that I will faithfully execute the office of Minister of Public Works without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and that in the execution of the functions of that office, I will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. And I do so swear, so help me God.
Yeah, I could say what I want to say. The Honorable Mr. Edgel is back in the position to continue to do the infrastructural works. Don't matter the amount of holes, don't matter the amount of accidents, allegedly, don't matter the amount of situations with the concussion highway, the unfinished projects, and all of those things. Guess what? They found it fit after analyzing, his participation in the functionalities of governing the country in that aspect. They found it fit to put him back in that position of authority. What do you think about that, Team Delta? What are your views about the fact that the Honorable Mr. Edgel is back in that position, and a number of other persons who were reinstated, and a number of other persons that might have moved around? What are your views? The numbers on the screen, you can definitely call it in, send in your voice note, or drop your comments in the comment section.
D.NEWSROOM. I, D.NEWSROOM, do hereby solemnly declare that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the people of Guyana, and that I will faithfully execute the office of the Minister of Public Utilities and Aviation without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and that in the execution of the functions of that office, I will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of the Corporate Republic of Guyana, and I do so swear, so help me God.
Big up yourself, Jay. Jay is saying, listen, Gail Teixeira is 73 years, too old. Politics, I telling you. 73 is a lot. And I think there's younger persons within the party that could play that role in a much more vibrant manner, right? Big up yourself, Jay. Thanks for tuning in and being a part of this live. She could have played the game like, you know, staying out of parliament just like the Honorable Mr. Norton and give some new person, some new blood a chance, because you got the experience and you can be the wisdom, the person in authority playing the game from behind the curtains. You understand? But I guess that keeps, you know, more than likely is keeping her young and keeping her energized by keeping her a part of the things that she was a part of since she's been young. Let me not forget that Gail's been a part of the ministry and a part of government for a very, very long time. I could remember days going to school and, you know, her being a part of government since then. It says some people dance and do until they dance the way all the way out of parliament, right? They dancing with people that getting promotion and they getting demoted. Yeah, see what's going on here? Some people dancing to celebrate because they don't know, hey, this is that and that is that. Other persons dancing the way out, last dance. You know what I mean? I tell you, good news Sundays. Good news Sundays right here on Delta 9 Media. Linda is saying this sounds good. Gail cannot be 73. Listen, hey, Shirk, I don't know how old Honorable Gail is. I stand to be corrected. A person drop it into the comment section, Shirk. So if it is or it isn't, we gotta check it out. The information should be out there. The information should definitely be out there because Gail is a public figure. You know, people sometimes just make the little joke. And guess what? The weekend is Good News Sunday. And we cruising right now on the flight. It's Delta 9 Media, buddy. Big up yourself. And thanks for being a part of this live presentation. All right, we're gonna jump into the information coming in from the top cops them, detailing certain updates about what's going on with LOLA very shortly, so that persons can be updated with those details. And we're hearing this conversation coming in right now that Mr. Mervyn Williams would have put in his resignation from the PNC. As long as we get that video to pull up, we will be sharing those details with you right here, because I know there's persons that's been following everything that's going on with the elections and everything that's going on with Team Green. And this is a big player, a player that would have been a part of the PNC for a while. And we're going to hear the details about his new resignation, allegedly. We're going to hear about that soon, right here on Delta 9 Media. We're going to jump into some of these details right now, coming out from the leader, well, the former leader of the opposition, right? He's going to give us some details as to how they will be stepping forward in this new 13th Parliament. Let's hear the details from the leader of the PNCR, A.P.N.U. You know what we're going to hear from Mr. Marvin Williams, then we're going to come back to the opposition or to the leader of the A.P.N.U.
Collectively for the people. There were other examples which I wouldn't detain or view in public with, but more recently you find that there is a more combative reality in the National Assembly, with all kinds of, I mean, heckling is a nice thing, you know, if you're skilled at it, you do a great job. There's some levity and there's some real, you know, good stuff coming out. But now you got people singing and taunting and dildoing and all sorts of things in the Parliament. There seemed to be no room in this particular dispensation. The fact that the parliamentary team for the People's Progressive Party has not really changed significantly. Which path do you see as the path more desirable for you to pursue? A negotiation approach, a negotiating approach, perhaps with the government, or this combative kind of thing that you must fight for everything?
Let me say that, and I have not followed parliamentary debate closely over the years.
Over the last 5 years, I don't think you missed much.
And that's the reason I didn't follow it. I don't believe it was at the standard that anybody should want to pay attention to it. First of all, you raised the depressed communities committee. I would draw your attention more recently to the Foreign Relations Committee, I think.
That dormant, almost non-existent committee.
And this is even after, I think, the last meeting between President Ali and Leader Norton. They agreed I think this is when the Venezuelan naval vessel sailed through our waters to reactivate the Foreign Relations Committee, and that was not done. Let me also point to you more recently, the Public Accounts Committee, where the quorum was changed. And so with the changed quorum, meetings became more infrequent of that committee. And that's
so many things going on right now. So much. And Mr. Williams had this update that he wanted to share with persons. And I'm making sure that I highlight it right here on Good News Sundays, so that we could stay updated with it, moving into the work week, informed, ready to move and make decisions from a real foundation, a foundation of understanding certain parameters of what's playing out right now, right before our eyes, in certain positions of power. All right? Big up yourself. It's Good News Sunday right here on Delta 9 Media. Thanks for being a part of this presentation. Cheryl, Angela, Loretta, Ja, big up yourself. Let's see what some of these comments are saying right here. Please blame it on the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance of Guyana. I'm telling you. Gail looks like 75. Loretta, tell you, oh my guy, Loretta. She put out enough work and she did a lot of things as it relates to, playing a part in the parliament and things like that for a large part of her life. So big up to Gail wherever you're there. And thanks for your service. She mightn't even go through the whole 5 years. She more than likely is gonna give another person a chance to be in certain positions. It's a good thing to see brothers and sisters of the soil that really got that patriotic drive. And we're not saying that that's the case with everything that's going on with the P.P.P, but it's good to see persons that is a part of Parliament right now. Because we're going to get into some of the parts of Parliament from the opposition perspective. We're going to understand some of the details that is coming in from the new players that's going in. From Team Win, we're going to understand some of the part that they're playing. Remember, the leader of the opposition, Deputy Speaker, Chief Whip, all of these persons are going to be coming out of Team Win. So it'll be interesting to see those details. And let's not forget, there will still be a lot of persons with a whole lot of experience and a whole lot of real understanding about how this parliamentary thing is run and having the experience of being on both sides of the aisle and in a team green and team purple as well will be in the house. It's going to be an interesting couple of years as we move forward with the parliamentary proceedings and different things in parliament. But let's hear what Brother Marvin is saying right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say to you that I've had a good run, and I, with a heavy heart, announced my resignation from the Central Executive Committee of the People's National Congress Reform. In that regard, I extend sincere gratitude to the delegates at the last biennial Congress who voted overwhelmingly for me. In fact, through your support and through the love that you have demonstrated for me over the years, I managed to secure the second highest number of votes of the 15 people who were elected to serve on that committee. I thank my colleagues at the level of the executive and the leader himself for the opportunity to serve, particularly here on Nation Watch, where I believe I was able to make a small contribution to my party and to the efforts that we have collectively been making over the years. And it is even with a heavier heart that I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, and my guest, Dr. Campbell, will forgive me for not saying this before, but I now announce regrettably my resignation from the People's National Congress Reform. It was a difficult decision, but the circumstances dictate that I take this decision. It was one that I contemplated even before September 1. It was one that I contemplated in the run-up to September 1, in fact. But my duty, commitment, and loyalty to my party did not allow me to do that. And I held my hand, and there were unfortunate occurrences after September 1 that, in fact, one of those two occurrences predates September 1, but came to my attention after. Having regard to those sets of circumstances and recognizing the need for the party to go through its rebuilding process, I've had a good run, and I thank every member of this party, every supporter of this party. I experienced only love from you, warm affection, tremendous support. And I thank you all for the years that you stood by me, to those who mentored me, to all the past leaders of the party and all past executive committees of the party. My sincere gratitude to you. But we have come to this juncture on the road where I must say goodbye. Until we meet again, ladies and gentlemen, wherever we meet, whenever we meet, I'm still your brother and friend, and I assure you that my indigenous brothers and sisters, my family of 9 nations, in my own right, in my personal capacity, I will continue to advocate for you if you have me. I will continue to champion your cause if you have me. And indeed, I will continue to lift my voice for a better quality of life and a better experience for justice, for fairness, for equality, for all Guyanese until the day of my last breath. God bless.
Big up yourself, Marvin. And we definitely appreciate everything that you've done and will continue to do. Y'all heard it right there from the Honorable Mr. Marvin Williams. He just resigned from the P.N.C. All right. Vibert, big up yourself, King. Thanks for tuning in. All the way from the East Bank of Demerara. We're right in that beautiful region that is known as Guyana, one of the wealthiest places in the world and one of the most beautiful countries to live in. I'm telling you, big up yourself, Vibert. Make sure you're enjoying the Sunday, one of a kind, right? How many people we got right now? Almost 400 persons tuned in. Thanks for being a part of the live. Thanks for being a part of Good News Sundays as we update you with everything that's going on. Greetings, you're on to Delta 9 Media. Hello?
Hey, good evening, Burke.
Good evening, good
And
evening.
everyone, I would say Sunshine Sunday.
Sunshine Sunday.
Sunshine Sunday.
Yeah. All right.
What I want to say is, with respect to Miss Gail Teixeira, I think it don't have too much to do with it. I think it's a experience, right?
Yeah.
It's an experience. What could happen? Somebody else portrayed when she leaves, you know?
Yeah.
And Mr. Norton too, his experience and the way he do. But then, you know, it goes with Mr. Norton. I mean, he dropped the ball at times. But this is not really the main thing because look at Trump. Trump is the president and I'm president older than Mr. Norton.
Yeah.
So I don't really deal with the age. It's how they can, you know, maneuver themselves to their job, right?
Yeah, and she got the experience like you were saying. Yeah, she got the experience like you were saying in a number of ministries and she served in a large capacity. Thanks for calling in, caller. Very powerful call, very insightful commentary as well in the comment section. Pick up yourself and thanks for being a part of the live. All right, you hear what the caller saying? Honorable Ms. Gail Teixeira could run the whole 13 and 14 as long as she's strong and focused and able to serve the nation in a real way. And we're looking to see what's going to be done, you know. We're being optimistic. We're being hopeful that they can have something that is closely resembling unity, something very, very close, if not the actual thing in the house, and they can be real progress, not just in these 5 years, but every year moving forward, a real unity, real patriots coming together and say, listen, we got all of these resources. Everybody in this country right now could benefit in this way, that way, that way. Who could do this? Who could do that? Who could move in this ministry, move in this? Who could help with this, help with that, and let the country move forward in a real way? All right? This is what we want to see. Guyana moving forward in a real manner. But guess what? Let's listen to some of the details of what went down or the updates from what is going down right now with everything that's going on with Lola Doll. As we shift the gears a little bit and we analyze some more trending details on the ground, analyze some more of what's taking place in this beautiful nation of Guyana. Let's hear what the top cops them got to say. about the updates with Lola.
She needs to be protected. She needs to be protected because she has named her assailant. Police and the family members and police need to make sure that she is properly protected.
Yale with the top cops them is pointing out from the jump, she needs to be protected. You can tell me some more details about her, but guess what? Loretta is saying, I still don't trust Win Party. If he don't deliver his promises to his supporters when he goes to Parliament, he won't get that support in 2030. Well, let's hope that the people really benefit from these promises that was made to them from all the parties, Win, Team Green, and the party that would have won, because remember right now, they got the majority with the number of seats that they got, meaning that they're the government for the whole country, not just their supporters no more. The whole country now is under their leadership. So now we're looking to see them deal with these resources in a real way, deal with these infrastructural developments in a real way, make sure everybody gets in their contract, make sure everybody has access to these benefits that our resources would provide us. This is what we want to see, buddy. But let me listen to what's going on right here with the top cops as they highlight the details of what is going down with the updates with Miss Lola Dahl. And Lola, big up yourself, strength and power to you, and definitely get well and get well very, very soon. Full recovery, right? To be able to do greater performances, and may your career soar because of this and everything else that might be put in your way to hamper you. May it be a stepping stool for you to step on a whole higher realm, on a whole higher dimension of showing persons just how creative you are, just how driven you are. Big up yourself, Lola. And thanks, right, for making sure that you showcase Guyana to the world.
Because she can end up, or I hope, I'm not saying this, but she can end up like Esoteric. Because now is a case where she said she know who shoot you. That is evidence. She know who shoot you. And you know,
I'm telling you, Shell is saying Keita and James Bond not going to Parliament. You can't just come in just and end up in nah. This is how this thing is run. This is how this thing is run, Shell. Remember, they got people in line, they got people putting in work in that party from before. You can't just run across the aisle, and because you run across the aisle, nah. There's no. Probably 2030. Right? 2030, because we know both of them got the experience, so it's not nothing new for them. You understand? Let me see what's going to happen in 2030 if they're still a part of that party at that time. All right, Shell?
So the sad part of it, let me tell you, you know, y'all could remember not so long ago, I put in the app to do some research. I'm doing police work for the police, man. I'm doing police work for the police. I put up, hold on, I put up the wrong thing here. Hold on.
Definitely. Marvin, you see what Little is saying? Marvin Williams is a man of high character. He did a great job for the PNCR. Big up yourself, Marvin. You see people coming through on the live, hearing about your resignation and saying, listen, Marvin is a man of high character. He did a great job for the PNCR. And we thank you for your many years of service and the many more years that you just said you will continue to serve your nation. Big up yourself, Marvin.
Hold on. Remember, not so long ago, we had a report. This was October last year. 7 suspects in Main Street abduction case granted bail. Y'all remember that? Several suspects in Main Street abduction case granted bail. That is where they abducted Joshua David, called Brick. right? Wanted bulletin and police make a whole set of thing and they jump around. Up to now, that man has not been found. And he has to be presumed dead. He has to be presumed dead, right? So here what happens here. I'm going to read this one. And there, to me, there's a connection. I hope that the police can see the connection.
And if you forget about that situation, the pictures is on your screen right now from those headlines with Mr. Joshua David. Still no word from him. His family definitely are looking forward to have some type of closure with what's going on. You understand? They're still looking and wondering what really happened to their loved one. There's the pictures on the screen for persons who might have forgotten the situation with Mr. Joshua David, when a set of persons would have took him and put him into a car. No more would persons be able to see him after that, right? There's a whole lot of allegations coming around about Buxton and all kind of other thing you're hearing. But guess what? There's the pictures on the screen for those who needed to be updated with what was going on and what the top cop was talking about.
7 men who are the main suspect in the abduction of Joshua David appeared yesterday at the Georgetown Magistrate Court, where they were granted bail. Wayne Barker, 34, of Lot G Norton Street Lodge, Georgetown. Aaron Allen, called Cats, 26, of Lot 9 West Lepentance, Georgetown. Davante Mars, called Shaki, 21, of Middle Road, the Penitence. Damian Barlow, called Dangles, 32, Norton Street, Watermanville. And Dwayne Griffith, called Sheik, of William Street, Kitty, Georgetown, appeared before Acting Chief Magistrate, where they were jointly charged with abducting the abduction of Joshua David, called Bricks, which occurred on September the 26th on Main Street, Georgetown. They were not required to enter plea. The prosecutor inspector objected to bail on the grounds that the police had not received information. The police had received information that the victim was murdered and the search for the body was ongoing.
Y'all hearing that? Y'all hearing that? And let me not forget that this is one of the same things right? This is one of the same things that Lola was pointing out. And when Lola had that conversation about being a target, about persons definitely coming after her and feeling that her life is at risk, right? When she made those allegations and she put out to the video and she said, listen, yeah, share this video. She highlighted some of these same details that you really top cop them talking about right here. Let me listen some more what the top cops got to say, because it's interesting what's going on with this case right here.
The prosecutor also told the magistrate that the police have CCTV footage that captured the accused in the commission of the crime and also eyewitnesses to the crime. However, the magistrate overruled the prosecutor's submission, citing that the crime was a bailable offense under the Act and that the police have not found the victim's body. The magistrate subsequently granted $500,000 bail each, with the condition that they report to every Friday between 8 and 16 hours to the DIDN, that is the Divisional Detective Officer or Station Sergeant at Brickdown Police Station. The case was postponed to November 13. Meanwhile, Osafo Peters and Alpha Poole, who appeared before the SEMA for a second time, on their first appearance last Friday, they were charged with abduction contrary to Section 4 of the Kidnapping Act and remanded to prison. The magistrate yesterday threw out those charges, and the duo was jointly charged with the above-mentioned 5 suspects and were also placed on $500,000 bail each. According to the attorney, Everton Singlami, it was a task of the police to provide the evidence against his clients, and he emphasized that they were not seen in the video footage that is circulating on social media. The magistrate then requested that the video be played for clarity, but the court staff experienced technical difficulties and the video could not be played. Lamiseng maintained that his clients are innocent. The other 5 suspects were represented by Attorney at Law Damian De Silva and Sergeant Dujan. As part of the investigation, the police search team on Tuesday ventured into the Anle backlands on the east coast of Damar, but came up empty-handed. Officers from Regional Division 4A and 4C had also searched the box and backlands without success. The abduction of David was captured on camera by an eyewitness in a vehicle, who then forwarded the video to reporters on Monday. In the video, 5 men could be seen pushing David across Main Street as he attempted to fight them off. It is unclear why city security cameras did not pick up the car after it moved off from Main Street. A group of over 70 persons gathered in front of New Thriving Restaurant on Main Street on October the 3rd in a candlelight vigil. And
I do think that James is in Parliament just as an MP. I think that that is the case. But I could stand corrected, but I think that James would be in Parliament. But let's see.
Issued a call for David's safe return. A lot to unpack there. Wonder if any one of these persons involved in this abduction is one of the persons that LOLA said she identified as her assailant. I wonder. I don't know them. I wonder. Are the police investigating that angle? This case, this abduction case, I said it and I'm saying it again. Persons that are charged abducting someone, the person who is abducted is not found. They are charged with abduction. Not found, right? The prosecution applied for bail to be refused. Magistrate said, no, put them on bail. Guyana cannot be a real place. Magistrate said the charge is a bailable one, the offense is a bailable, which I agree. That's what the law said. But given the circumstances, abduction and the person has not been found, you have to assume the worst. You have to assume the worst. And after all these months, from September to now, 1 year, Mr. Crime Chief, can you not assume that this person is dead?
Greetings. Hello?
Delta, I was listening to the swearing in of the ministers there, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I hear James Bond. Most of the ministers then is the ministers then from 2020, most of them, right? So I don't know. Right? Okay.
Yeah. All right, thanks. See? Team Delta is on it. Y'all heard the details right there. Y'all heard the details right there. Said that she listened, but she didn't hear anything about James going into Parliament. But you never know. You never know. Persons can be shifted around. Persons can be put in certain position. We're gonna know soon though, because they got budget and they got all kind of other debates that will be coming up very soon and very shortly.
Check the law. If you went to school, law school that day, check it there, check it. You gotta wait no 7 years and all those type of things. Check the law. Check the law. And the reason why I read that is because the question should be pursued as to whether any one of those persons who were involved in that abduction is the person that Lola said shooting, because I understand from my investigation that there are links to all of these people. There are links, and they know, the police know about the links. The police know about the links. And coming back to the first part of this thing we say, the fact that someone provided an alibi in a case like this doesn't mean that they were not involved. They might not have been the principal in the first degree. They might not have been the principal in the second degree. But you are going to read about accessory before and accessory after the fact. Especially in this case, read about accessory before the fact. Read that. And if you read and you comprehend, you might understand where your investigation should go. Read that. Read that. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to talk about it.
You see? Top Cop Slow and Top Cop Conway on the case, highlighting the details and the updates, things that should be paid attention to, the connection, the thread between what's going on, was making the streets very dangerous. Y'all see what happened with Joshua David, and then we had a chance to see as well what happened with LOLA. Dangerous group. And the top cops them is saying that they are connections. Right? Y'all heard the updates right here on Delta 9 Media. You had a chance to be updated with all of these things that's trending right now in Guyana. If you haven't already taken a couple of seconds, kindly take a couple of seconds to thumbs up the live, ladies and gentlemen. Boost it in the algorithm so that everyone will be able to understand and be updated with all of these trending and very important information.
For this matter, some more. See?
Like you know, I want if police don't look at what we call modus operandi, the way criminals operate, and they don't check. She gave a name. That name isn't within the police domain. Call a name. And by now they couldn't have gotten some description from her and put up a wanted bulletin or something. I sure they know the name of the person that she mentioned. I'm more certain that that guy is well known, and the police must have gotten records of him. But the person that they arrested in the first place and say that they sent him on $1 million bail like DIDN. As you mentioned, Paul, he might not, I'm not saying doing it, he might not be the principal in the first degree. Well, yes, could be. I'm not saying it. We're going to look at all angles. Principal in the second degree. Persons who organize it.
Yeah, hearing? So you mightn't would have been there originally, like they, would have held you for. You might have an alibi that might stick. But y'all hear what the top cops is pointing out. There's still certain ways that certain things can connect. Right? And these are important updates that we got to make sure we pay attention to as we continue to analyze and stay updated with everything what's going on with the LOLA doll case. Because listen, we can't allow people like that to just walk around in the society. Those are very, very violent and dangerous individuals. People who, if they can do that to a public person like that, to a popular person like that, and risk themselves having to deal with that case following them for the rest of their life, what are they going to do to you that is not as popular or might not have so many connections like a LOLA, or might not have so many connections like a Joshua David? I'm telling you, right on camera brawling in the daytime and definitely right in front of your place where you live. Dangerous situations that would have occurred. And the top cops them is saying that there's a thread between it that connects all of this. Y'all heard right there from the top cops. It's Good News Sundays right here on Delta 9 Media. So make sure that you thumbs up this live so that everybody will be able to see this on the algorithm and get these updates as well. We're dealing with everything that's going on with the 13th Parliament and everything that's going on right now with the LOLA doll case. But guess what? We're going to hear right now from our brother, Dr. Chetty, because he's going to be pointing out certain things, He's going to be pointing out certain things about this conversation on occult history And I was contemplating that, we should have gotten into some of this right here with Dr. Fred or with Mr. Fred Carbin before we jump into the conversation coming out from our brother Dr. Chetty. Because when we talk about what Dr. Chetty is talking about, we're going to start going into some esoteric history so that we could understand certain details about what's playing out right in front of the face. We're going to get the foundation so we could step forward. But let me read this comment right here. LOLA attempt assassination was allegedly ordered in cahoots with a person associated with a particular party. Wow. Huh. A terrible situation, Lethal. A terrible situation. See what Lethal is pointing out? Lola's attempt on aliving was allegedly ordered in cahoots with a person associated with a particular party and certain persons. On the screen, allegedly, as you can see, it's a serious time in GT, buddy. A serious time around the world. And we got to understand the global politics and how this thing is connected so that we could get a clearer understanding of what's playing out right in front of the face. Let me not forget that they still got these ships in the water. They still got a lot of movements going on back and forth between the US and everything in Venezuela. And we're going to hear some more insightful details about that from Mr. Fred Carbin.
Being on the siding with the US is going to help to clean up the country.
Well, I will say this. There is nothing wrong with siding with the United States of America if you want protection. Okay. However, the misunderstanding by the average man on the street in Trinidad, as well as some politicians who believe that the United States is there to protect them in some form or fashion, is a delusional enterprise in itself.
You see, Little is saying James is a junior minister in the Ministry of Local Government. Kwame McCoy is the senior minister. So he definitely would have gotten a position in the 13th. Big up yourself, Little, and thanks for that insightful commentary. All right, making sure that we're up to speed with what's going on in the 13th Parliament and in the positions of power in the country right now. As we listen to what Mr. Fred is talking about, everything as it relates to international politics that's playing out right in front of we face. Let me not forget they got these ships in the water, everything that's going on with the back and forth with Venezuela and the US right now, and different persons that's a part of BRICS. That's the elephant in the room that we're not hearing a lot about, but we got to make sure that we pay attention, because at any time these elephants could start trampling, and then you're going to be too late, and it's going to be too much danger in a close vicinity. Let me not forget, Venezuela is right next to us, and there's already a number of persons from that particular region that would have migrated over to our side of the border. Could you imagine what would happen if there was a big pull-out back and forth on the ground with them and the US? How many persons would then flood into very underpopulated Guyana with all of these resources that was already claimed by this particular part of the nation with a militia that is larger than the population? Let me analyze some of these details.
Simply because nobody bothered to take the time during the Biden administration to actually investigate what was really happening geopolitically in the Caribbean region. That was being the architecture of what was being put in place in the Caribbean region by Caribbean leaders themselves, who were being instructed from within the OECD and the Biden administration to create the problem within Venezuela, to build the narrative for the regime change that we see now being implemented, and use Trinidad as the staging point for illegal immigration, weapons trafficking, narco trafficking, and the trafficking of human organs.
So they give them a culture, or they give us this culture, this Trinidad culture, so that all of this could be expected and normalized, it seems. Y'all hear Mr. Fred Carbin and Mr. Andrew Tucker are pointing out insightful things that we should pay attention to in the diaspora right now. Right now. Let me big up a couple people that's in the comment section right now. And Kip, welcome into the live. Flash, Garden, big up yourself and thanks for tuning in. Ja, Little, everybody that's in the live, Square 4, thanks for tuning in and being a part of Good News Sundays.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the United States of America reinforced this position quietly, without publicizing it, by by fomenting the Guyana-Venezuela dispute. And they used the Prime Minister of Barbados to do it.
Yes.
The Prime Minister of Barbados was the one that kicked the whole shebang off the edge of the cliff and started the fomentation of the Guyana-Venezuela dispute. The United States quietly followed through by installing no less than 16 CIA forward operating locations on the Guyanese Essequibo, Venezuela border. These bases were used to recruit Venezuelans who were fed up with the US-inspired socio-domestic issues in the country to go into Venezuela. Guyana was used as a conduit for mercenaries to be imported into the Venezuelan country via the Guyanese border in order to be able to foment unrest within Venezuela, and then to bring about the increase in the Tren de Aragua release through corrupt military officials that Maduro still does not have control over, and use Trinidad as the operation center for human trafficking into the United States of America, weapons trafficking, murder, and extortion. And that is precisely what happened under the P.N.M. government in Trinidad and Tobago.
I'm telling you. Y'all hear what's going on there? Y'all hearing them details that are being alleged right there? Big up yourself, Queen, and thanks for being a part of the live. All right, thanks for tuning in. 500 persons almost in the live right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Good News Sundays right here with Delta 9 Media. Make sure that you thumbs up the live so that everybody could get these details. Y'all hear what Mr. Fred and Mr. Andrew Tucker is pointing out right there? Now we got to get a clearer foundation now, a clearer view of some of these things that's taking place right in front of our face. Now we could see certain details that we wouldn't have seen before, because remember, when the mind is blind, the eye can't see. And this information right here is to open up the mind so that the eye could now realize what's actually beholding, playing out right in front of our face. I saying to myself, but wait, how Trinidad just all of a sudden just seemed like if it's up on a spiral, creating a crime spree that is even crazier than Jamaica. All of this coming along with a musical soundtrack that just fit in the narrative to continue to push the society into that direction. Persons unaliving, big talala, people running down the road with big weapons. We see that already also over in GT, in Agricola and different parts and them things. And everybody now is connecting with the soundtrack, connecting with the culture, and playing like pawns in the game of global politics, and then even realizing they get to move around. You see how this thing is go? You understand how deep this thing is? Let me listen some more with Mr. Fred and Mr. Andrew Gafferson.
Tobago, and precisely what was fomented by the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Amorma. And understand one thing very clearly. If the evidence and these facts were put before President Trump, and he was see the documentation which has been gathered by Russian intelligence within Venezuela, there will be a tribunal within 2 weeks.
But Marco Rubio, when the CELAC, the Caribbean community of the Community of Caribbean States and Latin American States, they actually challenged Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, that if they are not suggesting that Nicolas Maduro, for example, is not, all the allegations leveled at him, they're not saying that some of them might not be true. What they're saying is that they should go through the right process, through the legal processes. Rubio is saying, no, whatever the president says, that is the final word. The United States does not have to depend on the United Nations, nor on any inter-American criminal court or whatever. The US has the final say. Now, the US, therefore, is not there to protect Trinidad and Tobago, then you'd agree, Fred. And I want to read, those of you who might not understand, an expression given by Henry Kissinger, who was a former Secretary of State, in which he says, it might be dangerous to be America's enemy, but to be America's friend is fatal.
That's correct.
It's fatal. So when we think that we are on the side of the United States, it appears that they're doing well for us. But eventually, down the road, we're going to understand that it is going to be to our death. And that is something that the Trinidadians have to understand. And I've been saying to them, they have to look at, as you have explained, Fred, the root cause of the problem. If they explore the root cause, then they'll be able to understand that I am not here suggesting that Nicolas Maduro is innocent and that he should be treated as a saint. We're suggesting that diplomacy should be the way forward, and not that you're just going to send military and take out a government that, without any form of democratic processes. That is my understanding. That is my opinion. I'm not sure what you think, but I know what you think, Fred. Let's move into, how do you think, Fred, the rising military presence in the region will affect countries like Jamaica, Guyana, Haiti, and beyond, the Latin American and the Caribbean in general?
Well, we have to look at it in the context of what is the United States of America looking to achieve by placing military forces in the Caribbean region. First and foremost, the United States of America only deploys military forces when it wants to gain a geopolitical position.
Right.
And the geopolitical position that is at most risk right now in the entire Caribbean region is not Venezuela. Because while Venezuela has vast resources of oil and gas and gold, the entire oil resources that Venezuela taps into extends all the way to the southern shores of the United States of America. There is no reason to invade or take over Venezuela and deem it as a national security risk to the United States of America or a geopolitical incident in which to deploy a military. However, the most important geopolitical asset in the United States sphere of focus and interest right now is the Panama Canal, simply because it is owned by China.
Yes.
The Panama Canal was basically invested in by the Chinese to the tune of $10 billion, and the Panamanian government allowed China to invest in it with the understanding that China would have priority with regard to its large volume of exports and shipping going into Africa and into the eastern seaboard of the United States of America. A lot of people have asked the question, why isn't China defending its right to the Panama Canal, even although they have invested $10 billion in that facility? And the answer is this: the Panama Canal is only 5% of China's global export potential in relation to what it can access with regard to its Southeast Asian partners. And with the opening of the Arctic Circle new sea route, which where you can take a ship from Shanghai all the way to Norway via the Arctic Circle, the Panama Canal is no longer of that relevance, simply because the distance to travel during the Arctic sea route is virtually half of that of sailing all the way from China across the Pacific Ocean just to get to the Isthmus of Panama in order to be able to go through and come into the Atlantic Ocean. There's no longer...
Yeah, Linda. So when we thinking, oh, is Venezuela, you're hearing what Mr. Fred and Mr. Andrews pointing out, it could very well be the situation that's going on in Panama. And it's a while now these things taking place, you know. It's a while now these situations are taking place. What about this? Let's analyze some of the history of what's going on in this very region. Some of the things that we might not would have been informed about while we were in school. Some of the details that might have been left out in history class. Let's understand that this thing, this invasion, these different people in positions of power that's manipulating forces on the ground, it's been going on for a while. So let me understand who these players are.
This is the war they never taught us. From 1492 to 1775, America wasn't discovered, it was invaded. Not by one country, by 7. Russia came through Alaska. The Netherlands took parts of Canada. Britain and England worked both east and west coasts. France came up through New Orleans and the Gulf. Italy moved through Texas and Gulf territories. Spain invaded from the west coast down through Argentina and Chile and back up the spine of America. This wasn't exploration. This was a 283-year war, and the target indigenous Black Americans, the copper-colored, wool-haired people already here. They didn't come here to enslave Africans. They came to steal land from the indigenous. They just called us Negro to erase who we were. By 1775, we surrendered.
All right. So all know the celebration that's going on in September is a conversation that, if you really analyze the history, might not be founded in the truth. If we're analyzing it from a real foundation of history, the Indigenous Month celebration might be somehow swayed when it comes down to the way that it's done in Guyana. Because the true indigenous persons of that region, like we're going to hear, because I said I was going to start getting into it. Trust me, I got about 100 slides.
Lost our right to vote, lost our land, and got renamed. They threw us on reservations if we submitted, and labeled us Negro if we refused. Now they act like we don't belong, like our story started on a slave ship. But the truth, the ships never brought us here. They were used to ship us out, erase us from this land. This war wasn't just physical, it was legal, paper genocide, land grabs, reclassification. The original Americans are now called everything but what we are.
Greetings, you're on to Delta and New Zealand.
Yeah, brother, you live right now?
Yeah, man. Live.
Oh, nah. All right, so I'm thinking about playing when you're like, calling that situation like right now.
All right, good. Big up yourself. Yeah, man. So we're getting into some esoteric history, and we're highlighting the details of this invasion that's been going on for a while now. This is not the first time it's been going on.
You want to know why we're struggling? Because we're fighting under false names, false history, and stolen status. It's time to correct it. Learn the truth. Reclaim your status. You're not lost. You were renamed. And now it's time to return. Please like, share, and subscribe.
World War I is from 1492 to 1775, when America was attacked by 7 countries simultaneously. For 283 years, they bombed this place. Russia took Alaska, Netherlands took Canada, British and England took the East Coast, Italy took Texas up to the Gulf, France took New Orleans up the Gulf, and Spain came around the West Coast down through Argentina, Chile, and up the backside. 7 countries attacked Black America. In 1775, we surrendered and lost the right to vote. They put us in slavery camps. They labeled them World War I.
So there's some esoteric history from World War I, highlighting certain details, highlighting certain things to help us to understand geopolitics. We got to understand the history so that we could get a good foundation about the players and the part that we are playing right now. Because don't forget that whether you choose to or not, you are playing a part in global politics right now, as we highlight some esoteric history, right? They're celebrating. Yo, still live or not?
Yeah, brother. I explained it. I'm sure this confusion, right?
Yeah, man.
I working with E-Network for over 7 years. You know what I'm telling you?
Yeah.
We had some for the next Esquibble. We go Esquibble and we working. Now, me and my partner, man, are the win flag. So as he landed up on the post, no, he has to just nail the flag. You know, it's 1 knockoff, we fucking get it. After then, 1 knockoff, we left in Esquibble. And now we're trying to bring down the boss to be the area. Working with a knockoff. After 7 years, dismiss on the spot.
For putting up a flag.
Just to put up a win flag.
Putting up a win flag. Wow.
It wasn't no, you know what I mean? It's not like, no, it's just the EAC favor the pose up on the lad in front by you.
Yeah.
As you get the lad upon the post, just to put up a win flag. We get knocked off after so much years, knocked off one spot.
Without no warning or nothing.
Yeah?
Without no warning or nothing. That's real crazy that they will treat you all like that.
Somebody just posted a video and we are calling dismiss one spot.
Wow.
Call and dismiss on the spot for nothing.
Well, definitely, bro. I could tell you that 500 persons now around the world is listening into the level of victimization that you have to deal with them. And that's real harsh.
You know?
After all them years of service.
Yeah, just helping a man to win flag. Knock off on the spot, not alone. We have to find a way down from Mexico.
Wow.
With no money.
Wow.
Then we come back to Georgetown or York and dismiss, you know, knock off on the spot then.
Wow. I'm telling you, y'all hear what the call is saying right there. Highlighting certain things that you allegedly had to deal with. Because you put up a flag. Person said, listen, we're going to definitely flag you for dismissal. And guess what? Find your way back down. Find your way back down from where they're right now. I don't even know if that's... How could people do them type of thing to people, buddy? You're not allowed to even be of assistance to the regular man in the street or to a person that's, you know, just asking a favor of you. There's a serious 5 years. A very interesting 5 years. But guess what? We're getting into this conversation about this esoteric history. The esoteric history that sometimes they just forget. Most times they just forget to point out in school.
This week, and it's a part of the documentary series, We Are Indigenous. When we go to the Slave Trade Voyages website, we can see an estimate of over 12 million slaves from Africa and an estimate in the inter-American slave trade of over 600,000. Yet they use the word imputed. And what does that mean? It means assigned to something by inference from the value of the products or processes to which it contributes. Estimated. So these are estimates and inferences. When we go to the actual voyages, we notice in the next to last column that some of the ships had no captives. This is a close-up of it. So what was on the ships that traveled all the way across the Atlantic? We see the very same thing for the inter-American voyages. No captives on ships that were traveling. They were not carrying slaves, they were carrying commodities. When we get to the data variables, we see that embarkments were only over 8,000 for Africa. Disembarkments at 18,000. This is the inter-American real data variables, and we see 7,000 embarked and about 22,000 disembarked. So what are we witnessing here? What we have here is a time lapse of the ships. Over 20-some thousand ships in the inter-American, and there were over 36,000 from Africa. Yet, when we calculate the data from embarkments, the actual data, what we find out is that the numbers only reach about 16,000 actual data embarkments. And if we count the disembarkments, we get about 40,000 in the slave trade. All of the ships that are listed with no captives that travel across the waters, what do you think they were carrying? Why would you travel from London to Africa all the way across the Atlantic with no captives? This is their data. This is not me making this up. And so what we have here is a very deceptive inference, estimated, imputed system of trying to hide something. And what are they trying to hide? You're looking at it in the time lapse. Indigenous people were taken from South Carolina into Cuba, from the Carolinas and Virginia into Jamaica, from Jamaica back into the States, from Brazil into the North American continent, from the North American continent back into Mexico.
So they mean that we were already here. So the scholar Ivan van Sertima, they came before Columbus. The scholar Ivan van Sertima, they came before Columbus. When he pointed out this information, he was on point. The brother, the soil, Ivan van Sertima pointed out this information. The scholar, the doctor, right? And we're being updated with all of this esoteric history. Listen, man, I've been waiting to get into this information, but I know I can't push it all out at once because we don't want to change up the conversation too much so we persons get disinterested. But I must make sure that I put the foundation information there so we could start to step on a real foundation over here on Delta 9 Media, because it makes no sense for me to be enlightened with certain things and then I come in and playing a game with y'all. I gotta make sure that I put out the real information, and this is what we're dealing with right now on Good News Sunday, right? New P.P.N.U, where that this is the definite live that we've been waiting for to highlight some of this esoteric history to the persons on the platform. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of persons right now that are on the live or that are going to watch this in the rewind in the future that is up to speed with some of these details. So drop certain insights in the comment section, call it in, and let's definitely take the flight to a whole different level. Thanks to everybody that's in the live right now. Queen is saying Delta 9. I'm wondering if now the Wind Party is in opposition. Isn't there anything he can do about the victimization and the firing of all those workers? Listen, there's so much things that the leader of the opposition can definitely do to help out a lot of persons in need of certain assistance in the country. So we're looking forward to see what these steps will be, because now we have the leader of the opposition being the leader of the Wind Party, right? So now you have the opportunity to do all of these things that persons would have been definitely looking for assistance with. Thanks for the insightful commentary, June. You definitely can help, and we're looking forward to see what will be done. Junie, pick up yourself. Purple hearts in the comment section. Team Purple, and definitely standing in solidarity. Justice for Adriana. Pick up yourself, Junie, and thanks for tuning in. Jai saying this. Greetings, you're on to Delta 9 Media Live.
Yes. Good evening to you and all my black brothers and sisters in
Big up yourself, Flash. What's going on?
I can't complain, thank God for another day. My grandmother always tell me, as a young man, do not complain. Do your best and leave the rest. Most complain is Most women love to complain. You don't join the band. No. With Win Party.
Yeah.
Let us don't forget Win is a businessman. And where protest concern, Win with not much is supporting them go outside here and protest. Let me remind my black man sister where Flash Garden coming from. When that problem offered Mackenzie, they say, we want Mohammed. When Mohammed went there, the first thing Mohammed said, before we shake you on, before we talk to you, stop burning, remove these children, because they interrupt business, and Win is a businessman. So, love it, don't put our hopes for Win, for do what will not please the businessman and JAGDEO them. We have to remember JAGDEO gets things on Win because Win needs his power back for make billions. I heard for this guy video. So people governor.
Yeah.
Win opposition G.COM 3 men them. That is where he started with. He called for them 3 black brothers to resign. And in a call for the Indian boys to resign. You see where Win shot. Before he started for clean
Flash. Wait, let me understand this. Let me unpack this, right, Flash? So the same commissioners that was on the opposition that would have stepped aside from certain things in pretty much a retaliation as to what was going on at that time in GCOM. Because I remember one person that even went on Mooring and said, listen, there's no way that they can really facilitate, if I'm not paraphrasing it correctly, I stand corrected, you know, where GCOM could really facilitate a free and fair election and he can't really be a part of the process. This is the person you want to resign?
Yes. That is the man with Vincent Alexander.
Yes, Mr. Vincent Alexander.
Could get 3 years with spot. When he tells the GCOM man, that number is wrong, don't do it to us again. And he's the one make coalition win 2015. Black people must read and understand and learn politics. Win supposed to say, no. Leave them 3 men. Them 3 men working hard. Them 3 men come out with them and tell them that GCOM and what GCOM is doing is wrong.
Yeah, they did say that. They came out and they definitely held opposition towards what was going on and made us understand certain things that we wouldn't if they didn't come out and say nothing.
But when called for them for resign, so he pay for them for something JAGDEO gain again. JAGDEO get something for Win because Win need the power back. You know one thing before we go further. Become a ban and go in politics. JAGDEO said that after the election, Mohammed has to pay all the tax money back, all the money. I promote by my program, he said, why Mohammed? Why you have to let Mohammed wait till them? When you get all the information from the American government and from the why not now? Because you know what? We want to do a good job. So please so he could benefit to go back in office. But now the election gone. How many days now? Look, 13 days now.
Yeah.
And enough and Win for pay the money. I said, I keep on looking. Thank you very much and have a good evening, you and your family.
Big up yourself, Flash. Thanks for calling in.
Anytime.
Yeah, man. Have a good one. Insightful. Y'all hearing? How they asking for these same whistleblowers, the people them that was calling out GCOM? So who gonna call out GCOM now, man? Who's gonna be the person inside the GCOM that we could really say, hey, this person gonna let we know if certain thing going on, because people come forward and let we know what's going on. It's right here in the playlist on Delta 9 Media. It's right here in the playlist. with one of the commissioners, one of the opposition commissioners, Mr. Vincent, that came forward, and he had certain things to say about the process and GCOM being able to deliver what they really should be delivering. Big up yourself, J Queen. You hear what Mr. Fred Carbin was saying about what's going on as it relates to everything in the beautiful Twin Island Republic. Big up to everybody from Trinidad that's tuned in right now and everybody that's going to watch it in the replay. Big up yourself. All right? And thanks for tuning in, J Queen. Square 4 is saying you all can use these forums to save children of the region from disappearing with what's going on in the Caribbean. Talk with your mothers and looking out for children, all like Norton and the fellow. Definitely. We definitely use this platform to advocate for persons, and like you just heard the caller call in and give certain details as to certain things that he was facing so that people could understand all over the world. And I'm definitely hoping that well, we know that somebody from WIN got to be in the live or is going to hear or see something about what's going on in this life. Y'all see what y'all could do for the big man then, huh? Y'all in here what the man was doing. The man was just being fair, helping out another brother because he's up on a ladder. The man said, hey, put a flag up there for me. It just so happened to be a WIN party flag, and y'all here we say P.P.P. Y'all definitely could find out more about what's going on with his brother and do something to make sure that he's all right, because it's 7 years he put in. I know that they got other opportunities and other contracts in telecommunication companies, and it's a skilled young man. If you're doing it for 7 years, then that's real experience, right? And if you're doing it for all them years consistently, you gotta mean that he's definitely producing at his job. And victimize just putting up a flag that make any sense. Then when the skills gone out the country, and the brain drain going on in the country, and we wondering why the population just don't seem to be growing at a pace with which it should over time, because so many persons are choosing to migrate. We're seeing that it's the same ambush in the night, the same underhanded things going on all over and over again. That's why it's important that we understand these basics about our real history. All right? Understand these basics about the real history, the real foundation, so that we could stand firm. And now no slippery slope that's going to lead us into a situation that persons really want to see we slide into. Don't being able to understand ourselves so they can lead me around and play games with us. All right? But right here on Delta 9 Media, on Good News Sundays, Movement Monday, Turn Up Tuesdays, Wisdom Wednesdays, Truth Thursday, Festive Friday. We can make sure we keep you updated all around the week throughout the entire process. We can keep you updated with these details and other very insightful topics, commentary, everything that's trending all the time. Right here, buddy. So subscribe and make sure that you thumbs up this live, because everybody needs to be updated with these details. All right? I met the founder, Secretary of State of the US, Henry Kissinger, way back in the early 2000s. He knew a lot about Guyana, Bornum, Jagan Height very well in relations to America-Guyana geopolitics position. Pick up yourself, Little. Greetings, you're on to Delta 9 Media Live.
Hi, Delta. Good night.
Good evening.
I'm actually said I'm watching the live, and good afternoon to everyone.
Yeah.
For most of the people that I've noticed that has been fired just for supporting another party,
yeah,
isn't that illegal in Guyana?
It definitely is illegal. How are you gonna fire a person for exercising their political, right? The right to have a, choice in a political party that they want to be a part of, that they choose.
Hear what I think
This going
always.
against international human rights as well. You can't do that to people.
They need to get the Caribbean consulate involved in this stuff, and they need to come together and do a class action lawsuit against all the company and government that terminated them from their position.
Yeah, you heard
They
him.
have the amendment right to vote and support whatever party they would like to vote and support. That's what the law says.
Yes.
Secondly, if they want women to be more open to things that are going on, they need to send it to his inbox. And trust me, somebody in there will see it and they will post it. This is how I've noticed other people have their things posted. Is by sending it to the inbox. Because remember, a lot of times Mr. Muhammad probably don't need to run his Facebook page, so he's not seeing these things. But if you put it in his inbox, I'm pretty sure somebody on his team will see it and they will get an investigation going on. And once they can clarify what's going on so they can come after them, he will post it.
Yeah.
But he has to get the information first before he can post it. What he does, he'll investigate. He send a team out to see what's going on. And once he can clarify that they're being victimized, then they can post it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Remember, these guys in P.P.P. is only waiting to he click him. So as much as he want to help so many people, the people also have to help him too.
Yeah.
It's a collective thing right now. But, I'm going to do my own investigation as well to see what I can do to help anyone. And I will also try to help as much as I can. But in the meantime, everybody, unfortunately, you're going to have to learn to play the hand yourself. Not saying that you should stoop to anybody's level, but when you can get to a fence, get under it, climb over it, go around it, let voice be heard.
Yes.
One post is not going to help, guys.
Yes.
And you guys need to come together. This is the only way. United we stand, divided we fall.
Every time.
One person alone can't do this. Everybody needs to join with you. What are they going to do, victimize the whole country? Then none of the companies there would have any employees. They need to stay to walk out on all government properties until they can get things together. Because this is ridiculous. You steal people's life.
Yeah. You literally fire the guy. Allegedly, they fired the guy left them in Essequibo and the guy made their way back down to town. How crazy is that? I never hear about nothing like that in all the years.
But what those people to understand, when you do things like that, karma is a DIDN. And what you put out into the universe, and a whole half of them that like to listen to this is listening. I have a message for a lot of you. What you do comes around. And if it skips you, it will not miss your children, it will not miss your grandchildren, and their children, and children come forward. I want them to hear that. Anyway, everybody have a good night. You guys stay strong, stay united, and you're not alone in this fight. God is watching and seeing everything. Trust me on that.
Definitely. Always seeing. Omnipresent. Always present. Yep.
Amen.
You have a great
Good
one.
night.
Have a great rest of the night. You see? I hope that persons that definitely are connected to win would get a little piece and send it over. Or I'm going to try to see how I could facilitate making sure that that information gets to persons that could definitely look out for them brothers, because that's not right. That's not right. How are you going to do that to them? Them man out there doing the work, buddy. And even if you want to get them a warning, or you want to say, hey, yeah, I can't be doing that, but since when you treat people like that, people that would have been serving in that capacity for that amount of years, that's not right. But we were highlighting esoteric history. Them persons calling and we start talking. You see how this flight is just there all over the globe? All over the globe. And we're making sure that we stay updated. with all the things, building the foundation so we could understand the real history. Let's jump into this right now.
In fact, the slave trade started with Americans being taken from America back to Europe and Africa. And so we wrote the book, They Lied About the Slave Trade, so that you could get this information and not have to go by estimates, inferences, or something being imputed to you. They listed the real data on the very same website that they lied on. And this is important because this shows that someone will go through this much effort to lie, to deceive, to veil, through very shrewd methods. What do they want to hide? They want to hide the fact that the population of Black Americans in the Americas was already here. The mound builders, the pyramid civilizations, the She. Not only do we have their commentary of proof when they first came here and who they saw, but we left it in stone. Where else can you go and see locks and dark skin in Bonaparte, in Chichen Itza?
All that esoteric history, the fact that we were already here. They didn't bring us all the way from New Africa and all of them things. We are POWs in our own land. Them man take this, take the mind, close the mind by feeding it certain information that they want to give you to facilitate the narrative that they want you to have, right? But guess what? When the mind is clear, the eyes can see. Because when the mind is blind, the eye can't see, right? No longer will we be blind to this history, this esoteric history that is creating the foundation to the reality that we're seeing right now. If you don't understand what's going on the ground, you can't understand what's going on in the sky. As above, so below. As within, so without. Now we're looking at the history so we could understand the present. What's going on right now with the warships that's in the water? What's going on with the fact that Guyana could have possibly been the promised land? Check the history of President Truman, you're going to see that he was the person that would have designated different regions and would have said, okay, this is the one that you guys are going to use. Guyana was one of the options as well. It's history that we got to make sure we understand. What is that position of power that the US would have had in Guyana since then? How and when did they resign from that position of authority and position of power? Yeah, I believe things has happened just so. I don't think that that position of power was ever taken away. I believe that that position of power more than likely might still be in place. And what we're witnessing, we might need to understand certain things about this foundation so we could completely get clear. I don't want to just jump out and say what it is. Do we understand the foundation?
Native peoples are involved in capturing and selling and bartering Native captives. There are more Native Americans exported from North America to the West Indian colonies than there are African slaves imported to the North American colonies. But Native peoples are involved in capturing and selling and bartering Native captives. There are more Native Americans exported from North America to the West Indian colonies than there are African slaves imported to the North American colonies. So many of the sources that we have to work with, and I think this is where so many of the myths that inform the legacies that people are still struggling with today, many of the primary sources that we have to work with are sources that were written by white missionaries, white federal governmental officials, and white citizens from the Deep South. And often those sources that describe Native slaveholding practices in particular, Native economic practices in general, and slaveholding in particular, tell us as much about the, or if not more, about the author of those sources than they do about the actual subjects. But Native peoples are involved in capturing and selling and bartering Native captives. There are more Native Americans exported from North America to the West Indian colonies than there are African slaves imported to the North American colonies. So many of the sources that we have to work with, and I think this is where so many of the myths that inform the legacies that people are still struggling with today, many of the primary sources that we have to work with are sources that were written by white missionaries, white federal.
A lot of the history is given to us by persons that we could look back and understand that they might not have our best interests at heart. Good news, good things to know, right? The real history is definitely going to be revealed, and we're going to peel it back level by level, piece by piece, so that we could put it all in the history. You understand? So that people could see it, so that persons could understand it. We can't rush it all at once, because trust me, when you get to really understand what's going on, you're gonna say, but wait, if somebody did come and just tell me this one time just like that, it would have just, you would have just hear it and said that can't be so. But when you see all the historic facts and you get to hear from persons all over the world about certain things that's going on, when you get to hear people all over the place talk about it, watch. I gotta show this too. Even though the flight would have landed, I got to show this piece here, so. Because our brother Chedi pointed out some of this in one of the last presentations that he did. Let's listen to some of this right here.
When you send the summons for me for talking, make sure you send it to the right person. That's another thing I have to come and teach my people. Many of you are on TikTok, and you should know there's a difference between a person and a living man. I am a living man. So when you send your summons to the person, please know that you're sending this summons to a fictional character. You're sending that summons to a person, which is a corporation or an entity. Not me. That's not me. That's a dead fictional character you'll be sending your summons to, which is a corporation named Akabri Sipal, which is represented by a birth certificate and a passport.
Y'all hearing that? Y'all hearing that? Dr. Chedi pointing out the straw man. Remember now, when you understand the history of who really would have invaded the Americas and conquered the minds and the physical, the spirit and all to a certain manner of the natives that were there, and then put these systems in place. These systems are still in place, and that's some of what our brother Dr. Chedi is pointing out, and we're going to get into some more of those details. Movement Mondays, or maybe Turn Up Tuesdays, or Wisdom Wednesdays. But every chance that we get when we up on the live, we're going to make sure that we highlight certain details about the esoterics, definitely here on Delta 9 Media. I want to thank everybody in the live right now. Almost 500 persons rocking out with us right now. Flash, Square 4, everybody that would have called in, all the moderators, everyone joining us live right now. Remember, these broadcasts is nothing without you, the viewers, without you, the persons that call in, and the persons that definitely drop the comments in the comment sections and keep the show moving. Thank you for being a part of this live presentation. It's good news. It's a good thing to be enlightened with the real history, the real foundation, and it's a good thing to be updated with all of these trending and important details. I want to thank everybody that's in the live right now and everybody that's going to watch it in the future on the replay. Big up yourself and thanks for being a part of Good News Sundays right here with Delta 9 Media. Before you left the flight, make sure that you subscribe, buddy. Subscribe so that you'll be able to know the next time this flight is taking off, and you'll be updated with all the details and everything that's trending in Guyana and in the diaspora on your timeline on YouTube every single day. Make sure that you subscribe to Delta 9 Media or follow Delta 9 Media on TikTok and on all different platforms. Delta 9 Media on Instagram, Delta 9 Media on TikTok, Delta 9 Media on YouTube. Big up yourself, and I will catch you in the next flight.
Hard, work hard, play harder. Verb, nerve, and muscle power. Keep thinking and moving at any age. Verb, nerve, and muscle power.
Unleash the best version of yourself with every goddess. Say goodbye to limitations and say hello to a better, stronger, healthier you. A natural way to stay ready, baby. 'Cause I'm ready for you, Mr. C.
The ultimate male supplement, men's total wellness formula, packed with essential nutrients for men's health.
She'll call you Mr. C.
Study hard, work hard, play harder. Verb, nerve, and muscle power. Keep thinking and moving at any age. Verb, nerve, and muscle power.
Unleash the best version of yourself with every goddess. Say goodbye to limitations and say hello to a better, stronger, healthier you. A natural way to stay ready, baby. 'Cause I'm ready for you, Mr. C.
The ultimate male supplement, men's total wellness formula, packed with essential nutrients for men's health.
She'll call you Mr. C.